for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-wall wine and spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 7th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Be sure and call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technician will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by Nebco. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Wednesday edition of On the Block originates from 1040 O Street. I'm Austin, he's Strick, and you're you. We appreciate you for who you are and what you bring to the table here during On the Block. If you want to be a part of the show, 402-464-5685. Eric must have a wire in the room. He already says pause. Strick, what'd you say? We just started the show. Eric's got a plant or something.
It's like
what's
Eric,
going on?
One of the two. He's in here doing CIA work or something. You know, some type of work. Who would do that? Is Mission Impossible? Is he Tom Cruise?
Is he Jason Bourne?
Which one?
Is he John Wick?
He's in here. We got to check the helmets, and see what's going on.
He says he's in the Ducks. Well, now we know where to look, Eric. Thanks for giving your secrets away.
There it is. Hey,
how you feeling, Stricky?
Austin,
you good?
I'm wonderful today, man. I feel great. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be here on the block.
47th birthday coming up.
47th birthday coming up. Yeah, sure, right. And I'm excited about that. A couple more weeks away. On top of that, got to the gym again. Hit the sauna. Feel good, man. It's something. It's something in there. It's something in the room. I don't know what it is. Good meditation day.
And you were working at the sauna.
Yeah,
you were working because Stricky, you put out that line.
I put out that line.
Big fish, Stricky. Tell the people.
Yeah, man. We've got a special guest on tomorrow. We'll mention it again as more people begin to come in to make sure that everybody knows it. We'll also put it out on the Block X site, and then we'll put it out on our personal sites as well. But we're gonna have Fred Hoiberg joining us tomorrow here in studio, 2:00. So that's something if you want to kind of get a little bit of insight, some internal information on what's going on down there at the Devaney Center and in the games that have, or the exhibition game and the game that has already happened, as well as what's coming up and what to expect out of the Huskers. So we're going to definitely talk with Fred on tomorrow at 2:00.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You won't want to miss it.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I will. I'm out tomorrow. It's wildly unfortunate.
Unfortunately, yeah. You have something you got to handle and take care of. It's a must to get that handled. But how are you feeling today, my friend? Listen, I love the picture you showed me on Beckett yesterday.
Yeah.
Little Herbie.
Superman.
Man, just he's so vibrant and just I love the energy, the smile, the look, the innocence, all of that encompasses little Herbie Beckett. But shout out to you and your wonderful wife and
she is wonderful.
What you guys are doing in raising the youth in this day. It's not easy, man. I've got to be honest about that, Austin. It's not an easy time. You know, I'm grateful that my kids are a little bit older and you know, they've kind of went through some of those phases, and we've had a lot of those deep conversations and talks, and they're doing very well. Mm-hmm. Didn't have any trouble out of them, and you know, as they were coming up, and they're thriving. And the baby is a super entrepreneur. She's, you know, we had her on. She's selling those trinkets, and she's doing wonderful and enjoying her junior season, or not season, but her junior year. And what's going on with you guys? Let us know anything new, anything fresh on the text line. We'd love to hear from you guys. We always appreciate you guys' interaction as well. But we've got to get to the business at hand. What we got going on today, man?
Well, Stricky, I think it's worth following up on the Dana Holgorsen news. And I think that there's a good jumping off point from YouTube we'll get to here in just a second. Dion, we see you. We'll get back to your comment. But Strick, here's the thing. I kind of think it's put up or shut up time for Matt Rule, right? Obviously, record on the field is what it is, but either put up a running game or shut up and stop lying about it,
mm-hmm.
right? You bring in a guy like Dana Holgorsen, okay, cool, that's fine. And I think maybe the outside optics that we talked about, that plenty of other people talked about, is Dana Holgorsen is a big name. He's had some high-level success as an offensive coordinator at Texas Tech, at Oklahoma State, then was a head coach at various different places as well.
Yeah, he's been a lot of places, a lot of big programs.
He has,
mm-hmm.
which I think leads most people to believe that he's the offensive coordinator in waiting.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the most likely option, right? You don't typically go get a big name like this, especially one that seems like he has some coaching years in front of him, just to use him for a small role. But maybe we wrote off the possibility that maybe Dana Holgorsen is just here for a small role. Maybe he doesn't want a staff position. Maybe he wants to be a head coach again. We don't know. Maybe it really is as simple as Nebraska just wants some new passing schemes. Maybe he just needs some new plays drawn up on the whiteboard that marry with their run game a little bit better. Do I think that's likely? No. I think you'll get a big name because narrative's kind of turning against Nebraska right now, right? National people are taking notice about just where the offense has ranked recently. So I just don't want to write off the possibility that Dana Holgorsen could just be in Lincoln for a month or a couple months, maybe through the off season, and he really is just a consultant. But if the outside optics, the outside perception is true, that Dana Holgorsen, is a consultant, but it's just for now, and maybe there's a staff position on the horizon for him in an on-field coaching role, then I don't want to hear any more about running the ball from Matt Rule if they're not going to do it. I don't want to hear about it. If you're not going to do it, if you're not going to coach it, if you're not going to be about it, if you're not going to call plays about it, then stop gaslighting us. Then stop saying to our face, we're going to run the ball. We need to run the ball for 75 rushing yards in the fourth quarter. Going and getting a guy like Dana Holgorsen, who, yes, comes from the air raid system, isn't anti-running the ball, but definitely likes to throw it more than he runs it. If you're going to go get a guy like that, you don't make that move if you're truly committed to running the ball the way you say you are. So either prove that you're committed to running the ball by doing it more effectively over the last 3 games, or I don't want to hear about it anymore.
So there's 2 things for me. One being that I think you're on to something there. I look at the schemes and the game, especially in the passing game, and I wonder whether or not he is going to have more of a place now in the program.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I can say for sure is this: when you look at the combinations of run game, block schemes, passing game, how they work together, one thing that I can say about Nebraska is there's not a progression to it.
Right.
Let me explain what I'm saying. There's not a progression in that a good OC, I believe, and I could be wrong, and I know Jim Philippi is out there. Philippi, my bad. Either way, let me know which one it is, the E or the I. Because we get definitely a lot of messages from Jim. We definitely love his interaction. We just can't get to all the messages, Jim, you bring to us, but we do acknowledge them. And here's why I say that, and I think he'll understand, and all of you will. Progression is what I mean is the setup. Mm-hmm. To me, there's times where it looks like it's a bunch of, like, you ran it this way and then you passed it that way, and there's nothing that ties it together. Mm-hmm. But what you want to do to defenses is you want to make things look the same. Mm-hmm. What I mean is, out of the run game, you want to have success in that run, mix it up with formations if you want to run the same type of play. And then out of those same formations that look like runs, you want to throw some form with the DBs and the linebackers having to think mm-hmm. or wonder what zone or how deep or where do I need to be in this route combination mm-hmm. alongside the running game. So they kind of look like it's tough to decipher. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
just like in basketball, if you can start in the same 5 out or the same horns or whatever, right, and run different actions off, right, that's like a pitcher in baseball. You want to throw from the same arm angle at the same velocity, but then how you grip it or the secondary actions are different. But if it looks all the same, it's going to take that extra split second to pick up, to decipher, and that split second should be all you need sometimes.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I haven't seen. Mm-hmm. And you can see those progressions, and it's the same thing as an offensive player. As you attack the basket, if you're a one-trick pony, everybody's going to pick up on that eventually. Mm-hmm. So you have to have counters and a counter to the counter. Mm-hmm. You can do the same thing in 3 different ways. Mm-hmm. And each time I can just add another component to it, which gives me the advantage. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're not doing. We're not able to keep people off balance. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like even if I want to throw on first down, I can decipher you're not really running this ball. You're going to throw. Mm-hmm. And it's been very rare that we've seen those type of progressions to success.
It really has been. And I think there's a parallel to be drawn here, Strick, between Nebraska football and a program that's just down the street, Nebraska basketball. When Matt Rule says that he wants to run the ball, fourth quarter shutouts and all that, right? Like, it's good. Admirable goals. If you can run for 75 yards, shut teams out in the fourth quarter, you're in a pretty good spot. Okay, fine. What it sounds like to me is Nebraska football fans wanting more layups and better defense, right, for the basketball team. And this is where my question for you is, what's maybe best for the Nebraska football program moving forward? Because think about when Fred Hoiberg, our guest at 2 p.m. tomorrow, live during On the Block, think about when he first got to Nebraska. Pace and space, 5 out, lots of threes. And okay, sure, Didn't have the same recruiting, didn't have the players in place, it didn't work. What did fans say? Oh, they're shooting too many threes. Oh, they're playing too fast. Not necessarily. What I think Fred Hoiberg was trying to do was differentiate himself. We know what Purdue did, right? With Zach Edey back to the basket, Trevion Williams, Matt Harms, Isaac Haas before him, Caleb Swanigan, the list goes on.
Connecticut.
UConn, right.
Yeah.
But guess what? With Klingon for them,
Mm-hmm.
Purdue was a top 5 team in three-point accuracy last year. So yes, their bread and butter was Edey. UConn was anchored by Sonogo and Klingon the last couple of years. But guess what? Tristan Newton was really good. Stephon Castle could shoot it. Alex Caravan, under the radar, really good player, really good shooter. You need those guys too. Nebraska football, if it wants to be a run the ball and defense first team, move the offense in that direction and look like it, but you've got to be situationally able to pass the ball. If you get to third and medium or longer, right? Or as the changeup, right? As the change of pace.
Yeah.
You still got to be able to do it. Is Nebraska football best served by becoming a defense and run the ball program, or can they do what maybe Fred Hoiberg showed was possible in a quote unquote defense and run the ball basketball league in the Big Ten in going the other way, right? In being good enough, around the rim, having enough of an inside presence. I would consider that rebounding in basketball, right? Nebraska wasn't an elite rebounding team last year. Just like
serviceable.
Yeah, exactly. Serviceable. Just like I don't think Nebraska football this year and probably next year will be an elite running the ball team. But can Nebraska football be serviceable running the ball, but be really good in a way that not a lot of Big Ten teams are really good in passing the ball? Is that a better, more sustainable model for Nebraska to zig where everyone else is zagging?
Well, let me give you one thing before I answer that question. If you happen to watch the Penn State Ohio State game, we know Ohio State is pretty good in the past. We know that they have a way in which to take advantage of Will Howard and use him periodically in the run game. And that's that progression thing. You've hit Judkins and Henderson inside, off tackle. And then you hit him with Howard with riding him in there and getting 8 yards. And you're off of it for
3 drives.
Yeah. Right?
But you have it.
It's a progression, right, that you see out of them. And then you saw one thing that I still don't believe Nebraska's ready for is late fourth quarter. You need first downs with 3 minutes left in the game. You're at the 2-3 yard line, and you move the ball all the way to the other side, and you didn't do it by passing.
Right.
But it's because you changed some blocking schemes. You knew kind of how they were going to crash. You knew you had success there. You were able to still do it because you mixed up how you were going to block it. You showed run and still ran and got 6-7 yards. We're not there yet.
No.
And I just think it's because we don't have that progression. Now, on to your question. I do see the relation between what you were saying. Is Nebraska capable? I think they are, but I'm going to be honest. I don't have faith in the wide receiver coach. I don't.
Fair.
I don't have, because he has to be able to also understand where we are, who's effective, who can be effective in this specific time, and put those guys to work to be able to do it. I still think our pass scheme is very Iowa-ish. And you remember I've talked about how, boy, I could come off the out of the bleachers and read some of those route patterns, and not even played in give me a series. I could read half of those route patterns. And I feel that we're very predictable.
Sure.
In so many ways. And I think they could try it. I just don't know if we're there yet. And it's a lot of it because I just don't have faith in possibly some of the people that could put the people in the right place to be able to do that effectively.
Mhm.
Now, maybe Holgerson gives us some of that
Potentially.
because
We'll have to
we
see.
still don't know. We're
Mhm.
still lying in wait as well.
And I don't think you go out and get a big name like that just to sit him on the sidelines. I don't think he takes an opportunity like this because don't forget, he was already a consultant at TCU to just be a consultant somewhere else, right? It just feels like there's something more on the horizon. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Maybe that's just, a bad guess, but it's a big enough name that I think there's something more to it. But Strick, all that comes together to say Nebraska football will be at its best when it's balanced, right? When it's running the ball and it's passing the ball most effectively, right? Let's just look at the Big Ten this year. Top team in total offense is Indiana. They're throwing the ball for 284 yards per game. In the Big Ten Conference, that ranks
With
fourth right now.
with run pass option.
Right. So they're fourth in the conference
Yeah.
in passing offense.
Mhm.
But guess what? They're rushing the ball for 192 yards per game, which is second. That's balance. Look at the other teams up there. Oregon, passing for 300 yards per game, second in the conference behind only Maryland, but still running it for 168. The teams that aren't having as much success are the lopsided ones, right? Maryland, rushing or passing for 314, Maryland rushing for 119. Iowa might be a little bit on the come up. They lead the conference in rushing right now. They're over 200 yards per game, 222, still only passing for 133.7. Obviously, Nebraska should want balance. But I do think that if we look to what's the end goal for the program, what's on the horizon? Yeah, you got to win more games. But if the goal for the program is to get to the college football playoff, you're going to have to score points. Michigan was kind of the outlier last year, scoring as many points as they did with the run game the way they did it. Look at how Washington got there. Look at how even Texas got there, right? Texas was balanced. Washington was maybe a bit more pass. Alabama maybe slightly run heavy compared to pass heavy, but with stud wide receivers. This is where I'll go back to the football and basketball comparison again, right? Nebraska can raise its floor by becoming a defense and run the ball program, right? Nebraska can get back to 6, 7, maybe even 8 wins by being that defense first, run the ball first program. But the next level then will be, how do you add the pass game on top of it? That's going to be the differentiator at the top levels. When the game's on the line, who do you give the ball to?
Mm-hmm.
That's maybe why I'm a little skeptical of Boise State in the playoff, right? Genty's fantastic. Genty's awesome. He's a deserving Heisman winner. Boise State can be able to run their way through all those teams. Is Maddox Madsen the quarterback you trust to take Boise on a Cinderella run? I don't. Who is Oregon going to get? They're the 1 seed in the college football playoff. We'll get to this. Game's on the line. Is Oregon giving the ball to Jordan James? No, they're giving it to Dylan Gabriel, who's throwing it to Tez Johnson. The pass game, just like the 3-point shot, is the separator at the elite level. That's why Big Ten teams have had so much trouble in March. That's why Big Ten teams had even the college football title drought, because they were defense first, because they were run first. And Ohio State, kind of broke that mold, right? But they were more balanced. Michigan broke the mold in the opposite way. The separator for Nebraska, I think, will be Dylan Raiola. You can't take the ball out of his hands. You just got to support it. I think Nebraska's identity for the next 3-4 years has to be in Dylan Raiola's right shoulder. But it can't be only Dylan Raiola's right shoulder.
That's the balance you're talking about. But you also said something that even to this day, at this moment, this late in the season, I still don't have an idea of what their offensive identity is.
They don't either.
I know what their defensive identity is. I can see that very clearly. I can see that. I can't still at this point identify what their offensive identity, and maybe that's what Holgerson's here to put eyes on, to maybe fill in some of those gaps and in some of those holes, to give idea as to what, have those conversations. Let's sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
What is our identity? What are we trying to accomplish? And then write down the vision and make it plain. I know you know that.
Yeah.
But shout out to Josh Nielsen. I got this from Josh. Josh says, keep in mind, when Dana Holgerson was at Oklahoma State, he averaged 174 running yards a game with roughly a 52 to 48 pass ratio. I'm okay with that ratio.
Sure.
I'm okay. That's something that I envisioned it being around that way, maybe a little bit more. But I envision it being around there. And hopefully that's a part of that identity, and a part of that growth can involve a little bit more creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and let me give you this one. You may be a little young, but I think you will have an idea of what I'm talking about. It's kind of like those Princeton teams back in the day.
Well, it's still going.
They had that identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to run you this clock, and we're going to backdoor the heck out of you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what are you going to do about it?
None.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's their identity, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
they're sticking with. But it's unique because they have deficiencies in other areas, and so they're going to use the clock. They're going to make you work. They're going to get you frustrated, and then we're gonna pound points on the scoreboard. And then at the end of the day, we're going to do enough fundamentally sound things that's going to beat you. That's been their model. That's why when they was going to the tournament, they was shocking and upsetting people.
Well, they did it to Arizona and Missouri just 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that they're super skilled.
No.
Not that they have a bunch of super athletic, high jumping, 50-inch vertical, 6'9" forwards or nothing like that. Right.
But when they got them, they took that program to the next level.
Yes.
They added to the identity. They didn't change the identity.
Right. Unfortunately for places like that, you're either there for a couple of reasons. You're either there for that education that you're going to get, because NIL has spoiled it for teams to grow those type of programs. Because if someone becomes a elite on those teams, they start smelling it.
Right.
They start smelling opportunity. I'm out. I love the education, but let me go see what this NBA money talking about.
Right.
Let me go see what this NBA money.
Speaking of getting out, we should probably get out and call Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. We'll keep this conversation going. I think it's good stuff. Lots to build on with him when we get back. At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Leaves are falling and the temperatures are cooling down, but don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Leagues are underway with winter leagues beginning December 1st. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your holiday, birthday, or bachelor parties, corporate and team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at doubleeagle.golf.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
As a proud member of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, Coalition Restoration stands out by providing thorough property assessments, personalized customer service, and top-notch craftsmanship. With years of experience in the industry, Coalition Restoration has built a notable reputation for having a team filled with skilled professionals and possessing the expertise to handle any roofing project, big or small. Visit their website today for a free roof assessment at www.coalitionrestoration.com or give them a call at 402-607-8186.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block, brought to you by our great friends at Nebco. Check them out at nebcoinc.com. It's 2:30 on a Wednesday, which means we're headed to our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiberware. Don't worry, Stricky, I got this one myself. They understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We welcome in Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, classic Nebraska football. Quiet bye week. No news. We love it.
Yeah. What? I don't know what that's about. No, it's it kind of felt like one of those off-season moves that you make in a month. Maybe they got a head start on some things there, but no, it's if you're talking about Dana Holgerson, now it's a notable move. I think shows a little bit of urgency for what Nebraska wants to do here this last quarter of the season.
That was exactly where we were headed and where we were going to jump off. Matt Rule, not the type of guy to hit the panic button, but a move like this, it sends shockwaves through the program. It sends shockwaves through the fan base because this is a very high-profile name and guy who's been linked to the program before. I mean, in the offseason, you had the rumors that he was in town, and they talked, and there were conversations. Nothing came of it. But, Evan, this is a guy and this is a name that you don't make a move like this to bring him in now unless there's more on the horizon after the season, right?
It would seem that way. Yeah. It's an interesting kind of moment in time with him in Nebraska. Like, you think about his history. He knows Matt Rule. As you mentioned, he came in last off season and they talked and nothing really came of it. And you can kind of think to the future and say, well, what does this mean for next season? And you could certainly see a path to where he might be the guy calling plays moving forward. By all accounts, he's the guy who wants to get back into a head coaching job or maybe an NFL job. And so this could be a springboard for that. But, I think the immediate present and his impact in the next month is really fascinating too, just in terms of, him coming in. What kind of an impact can an offensive analyst, even one with his experience, have in 3 games? Will Nebraska, I don't know, maybe have a little bit more tempo? Will they use players or some skill guys in different ways? Would the apparatus by which they call in plays potentially change? Maybe it's a game planning thing where it's less about the flow of the game itself and more kind of how you scout an opposing defense and set things up in advance. So I think that's kind of the fascinating part right now is what can his impact be for the rest of the season? Because if Nebraska, was just looking at this as a move for 2025, then you can go ahead and make this hire in December, in a month, but they're not doing that. So I do think there's a sense of urgency, a sense that he can help the team immediately. And I do think there's something to be said about, especially at this point in the season, bringing in somebody who hasn't been in all your meetings, who hasn't sort of lived and breathed everything from a micro level and can look at the big picture and say, hey, why don't you try this? Or have you considered that? Or why do you do it this way? I think it takes some humility as the head coach to make a move like that at this point. I think it takes also, again, that sense of urgency that there's still something for Nebraska to play for. And we'll see how much of a difference this can make for an offense that's been, obviously struggling quite a bit, especially in Big Ten play.
You bring up that word humility, and I was going to go there with my next question as well, because now this is 2 seasons in a row that they've had this offensive staff and Matt Rule have brought in some mountainside help, right? Last year, it was Tom Osborne coming in, drawing up LEG option and the deep pass on the whiteboard for him. And then now it's Dana Holgerson coming in during the second bye week for this team. Evan, when you think about that fact, which weighs more heavily in your mind? The fact that there is that humility from the staff, to bring in that outside help, even at, weird points of the season, or is it more of an indictment of the inability to get it right the first time?
That's what makes it such an interesting situation is you can really look at it either way. On the one hand, Matt Rule is a program builder who's done it elsewhere, who's been a head coach in the NFL, whose offensive coordinator is making $1.4 million, and that's apparently not enough to figure that out. But I think on the other hand, you can look at it and say, what if previous Nebraska head coaches had the wherewithal to bring in some outside perspective? What if Bill Callahan in 2007 brought in some people to give him some truth about his staff and his situation? What if Scott Frost had done that in 2021 or 2020. Like, I think you can also make that case that, like, if you're, sometimes you have to be self-aware enough in a moment. And I think this is true just kind of in life, to where, like, are you of the mind that you have all the answers and that you are going to move forward with conviction in that way? Or are you of the mind that, hey, there are some things I can learn. There are some things maybe where I have blind spots that I don't see things as clearly. And in those cases, do you have people that you trust that are good at what they do that can come in and speak truth to that? And so that's the one that Matt Rule's banking on. It is different from what a lot of previous regimes at Nebraska have done. So I think that's fascinating. And then when you look at, the resumes of Holgorsen and Phil Snow on the defensive side, like, those guys are accomplished coaches at various stops for quite a long time. And so, I don't know that it can be worse, that they can come in and screw things up. I think just adding that perspective gives Nebraska something to think about. So I guess I would credit Matt Rule for doing that, even when maybe the public perception on that isn't always the friendliest.
Evan, we've seen the program now over halfway through this season, and when you observe this team at this standpoint, would you say that they have an identity? They've set an identity on the offensive side of things. Would you say that you've seen an identity? Could you identify anything that they do particularly well, or have a go-to, or anything of that sort at this point?
Not really. Not a definable style. No. And, that's obviously one area that Nebraska needs to figure out. And, like, you contrast that with a whole bunch of teams in the Big Ten, right? Like, when you say Oregon, like, you can kind of articulate what that offensive style is. When you say Minnesota, you know what that style is, even if it's not always super explosive. When you say Iowa this year, you know what that style is. With Nebraska, you don't know. I mean, one week it's screen heavy against Ohio State. The next week they don't throw a single one against UCLA. Sometimes they, run the ball a few times in a row, and then it kind of feels like maybe they get bored with it and they throw deep, and they're running fullback dives at the goal line, but then they're also passing 3 times inside the 5. So, like, sometimes I think Nebraska coaches, and not just this staff, but recent ones too, you almost outthink yourself a little bit. You say, well, the opponent's going to expect me to do this, so I'm going to do this other thing over here. And sometimes you get caught up in sort of being a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And, I think the more you see Big Ten teams operate, the more you see college football, like, the best teams seem like they do a few things really well, and they do it over and over, and they do it with certain variations, but they're just very good at what they do. And Nebraska just doesn't know what it wants to be. Is it a zone run team? Is it want to be an RPO type offense? Is it West Coast? Do they want to throw deep all the time? Like, you don't know week to week, drive to drive, opponent to opponent, what they want to do. And so, like, one thing that we've heard from Matt Rule in recent weeks has been these teams coming off of bye weeks are throwing new wrinkles at them, and they don't know how to handle it. And I think that's really where the value of having a specialty or having a bread and butter on offense helps you out. Because if you're surprised by what's coming at you, then you just go back to what you're really good at. And I just don't know that Nebraska knows what that is for them right now.
You mentioned that. Does that sound at all like Scott Frost against Illinois, and they came out of the odd or the even front?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a little bit of, I guess, similarity there, familiarity to that particular comment, because, like, again, if in that case, or this last week with UCLA when they're doing these safety blitzes and bringing guys on, like, delayed blitzes and things, like, those surprised Nebraska because Nebraska was trying different things. And if you have a certain bread and butter, a certain go-to style of offense, like, that's when you're like, all right, well, we're going to go back to this thing, and if you're going to do that thing, then that's fine, but we do this thing really well, right? So, like, I think that's where Nebraska has struggled, is, like, the game plan seems to be so different week to week that there are just too many variables, and it's hard to adjust to that in game. It's hard to deviate from that if you don't have anything to fall back on. So yeah, I think there's some similarities to that, because that's how the Frost staff was in terms of their offense late in that tenure. It was, you didn't know week to week. There was tempo, but what were they going to do in terms of running or passing? I think this is a question when you talk about offensive identity that's really been an issue for Nebraska for probably all the way back to the Mike Riley era, just in terms of what they want to do, especially against the Big Ten.
When you look at identity too, Evan, I think it's important and fair to point out that when I mention some teams and other teams by name, I don't mean it disparagingly, right? Because most programs in the Big Ten, have had more success recently than Nebraska. So when I say, does Nebraska want to keep the company of a Minnesota, of a Northwestern, of an Iowa, or does Nebraska want to keep the company of an Ohio State and Oregon right now in Indiana, right? To me, it doesn't matter if Nebraska, wants to run the ball, wants to pass the ball more. It's just got to pick one and stick with it. But I think fans wouldn't like to hear that. They want Nebraska to be a run-the-ball, defense-first sort of program. Do you think that there's value in Nebraska being a classic Big Ten team, getting back to Nebraska roots such as they are, in being that defense and run-first program? Or can Nebraska football maybe do what Nebraska basketball did and zig where the rest of the conference is zagging and make that the identity?
Well, I mean, funny enough, like you think back to Nebraska's highest of heights in the 90s, like not a lot of teams were running the option. So like that's what they were doing differently in that time. I think like if you're Nebraska, you have to assess, first of all, what kind of talent do you realistically expect to be able to bring in to run your offense? So like you can say, hey, we want to run Ohio State's offense, but are you going to have 3 5-stars starting for you on the edge? Are you going to have tight end depth to make those plays? Are you going to have pass blocking offensive linemen that are going to be reliable? Are you going to have NFL prospects at quarterback to run that thing? Because if you don't, then you're in trouble. And like, you look at a team like Michigan a year ago, they had the guys that they needed to run sort of their style of offense. This year, they don't. A lot of those guys went to the NFL, and they're a 500 team. So like, I don't think it's a terrible thing to say, hey, you want to be like Minnesota or be like Iowa, in the sense that those teams can recruit players that are going to run their system. And if you need to play sort of the keep away style and run the ball and time of possession and protect your defense, like that can win you some games. Minnesota's winning games. Iowa's winning games. But it kind of goes back to that classic question of like, what's your goal as a program? And for a lot of teams, the goal is to have winning seasons, to go to bowl games, to maybe have a chance in some of those bigger games. And then for a handful of teams, it's national titles. And I think that's where Nebraska's been caught kind of betwixt and between a lot, is like they're trying to get back to respectability, but you're almost skipping a step. You're aiming for the national level before you've achieved sort of those 7 and 8 and 9 win seasons that you need to have first. So I think that's what it comes back to for me, is what kind of players can Nebraska recruit, and then you need to fit your system around those guys that you're able to bring in.
Fair enough. It's Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald with us. Just a couple more minutes here real quick, Evan. Nebraska against UCLA, they get down 20 points, almost the school record comeback or close to it. Obviously, 2011 Ohio State would be number one on the list. You're in the stadium, you're watching the game. Did you think Nebraska was actually going to pull that off?
Honestly, no. I mean, it was kind of went back and forth. Like you looked at it at a half, and Nebraska played poorly in a whole bunch of ways, and they were down 1 score, and you felt like, okay, they can recover from that. They've done that before. But I thought the pick six, to me, right out of the gates in the third quarter, was probably the moment that they weren't going to be able to shrug off. And when they're down, they were down 20 and then kind of made a comeback. I talked to a couple of guys in the box. I said, what's going to happen is what always happens. They're going to make a little charge. They're going to get within a score, and they're going to fall just short. And unfortunately, that's kind of how it played out. And it almost kind of felt like 2 defeats, right? Because you had people leaving there in the third quarter and saying it was over, and then the belief came back again, and Nebraska had a couple chances late there to tie it or take the lead, and then it kind of felt like you lost it again. But man, I mean, that's what the challenge is for Matt Rule when you're talking about this here we go again mentality, this idea that you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. I mean, you just can kind of feel it in the stadium. You can feel it in the press box, and he's trying to take away that feeling on the sidelines, especially with a bunch of guys who've had front row seats to that stuff for 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, it continues to happen. And I thought his press conference on Monday was notable in the sense that, like, he was re-examining his own approach and saying, like, am I hard enough on these guys? The players got to play. Like, he's pushing a bunch of different buttons. He's rebuilt programs at other stops. But just the emotional baggage that continues to hang with this program, I think has been a little bit confounding. And as he said, it's a frustrating time, and we'll see if Nebraska is able to figure it out here for the stretch run.
Obviously, we don't deal in hypotheticals. The fact is that Nebraska lost, and then Dana Holgorsen and Phil Snow were in the building the next week. If Nebraska had won, if they had found a way to come back and win that one, 28-27 or whatever it would have been, do you think that these moves still would have happened, or do you think Nebraska would have said, oh, we found a way to win this one, we got to bowl eligible, we're fine, we'll get better in the offseason?
Yeah, it's a good question. That's probably something we should ask Matt Rule about specifically. But yeah, my hunch would be that they would continue with the status quo, just in the sense that, man, once you get that 6th win, like it does change the vibe around the program. You would finally have that bull monkey off your back. I think guys would play probably a little bit looser at that point, knowing that they're not chasing, something specific like that. You can just go out and play football. And that's not to say that they wouldn't re-examine things potentially after the season still, when you talk about just the struggles the offense has had in particular. But, it's an interesting time to make that move, because I think you could make the case that it's reactive because of the loss and because of the struggles, but I think you could also make the case that it's proactive, given that you're showing this urgency to change things still with 3 games to go, and then potentially, maybe more permanently after that. So I don't know. That's one for Rule, but my hunch would be maybe they wouldn't have made this if they'd been qualified for a bowl.
And see, that's really interesting to me, because I think that for a staff that prides itself on being so process oriented, if Nebraska had won the game, you'd almost be taking results over process, right? And maybe it's a tougher sell in the moment to the coaches in the building that, hey, we just did something that hasn't been done for 8 years. But I would hope that if Nebraska is the process-oriented program it wants to be, that these moves were on the horizon anyways, right? You had the conversations with Holgorsen in the offseason. Clearly, Rule and Snow are close and continue to be close. So to me, it would almost be a departure from what Nebraska says it's about if bringing in these 2 new consultants was results-based instead of part of the process that Matt Rule had on his mind for a couple weeks already.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. I think it was more of a timing thing, kind of like I said, like if they had won the game and then they finished the season and whatever it ends up being 6-6 or 7-5 or something, I still think you look at the numbers in totality and say, oh man, they're still averaging probably under 20 points a game in Big Ten play, and so you're going to have to make a change and find a way to improve upon that. I just think making the move now is fascinating, because to me, it's a recognition of what you're still trying to accomplish this season. Like Matt Rule on Monday talked about playing younger guys and guys who are maybe just playing, and they're not worried about other things and disappointing people and all the rest. And he could do that, but if you're doing that, typically you have nothing left tangibly to play for, and Nebraska does. I still think there's a lot of meaning in ending that bull drought, getting back to the postseason. Matt Rule's been a little bit more bold these last couple of weeks about talking about the value of December football and the extra practices and development that go into that. You can let your red-shirted guys compete. I mean, it is a valuable thing. And if you're a developmental program, man, you need those extra practices and that extra time to get things jump started. So I think they're kind of in this interesting spot where you're starting to look ahead to what you have for next year and how you can build toward 25 with momentum. But you're also in the spot where you say, again, like you have 3 games. If you can win 1 or 2, and especially considering who you would beat. I mean, if you beat USC or Wisconsin or Iowa, those are meaningful wins in their own right. That's important too. So they're walking a fine line right now, I think.
There it is, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, our guest. Evan, truly appreciate the time. As always, do it again next week. Have a good rest of your week, man.
Yep, thanks. See ya.
Evan joined us on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Strick, I just want to ask you quickly, do you think if Nebraska had completed the comeback, they would have brought in Holgorsen and Snow this week, or that would have been in the offseason?
Probably the offseason. I think if you listen to just how Coach Roll, had that pressure, you can tell that it's something that's already been on his mind. So here's the thing. This is nothing different than what Tom Osborne did. Tom Osborne went through a very similar situation in which he was able to continuously win the Big Ten, get to the big game, and just get obliterated, right? Outplayed.
There's Oklahoma for a while, then some big bowl games, yeah.
Yeah. So he did something unique. He started going down. Actually, he went down, I think, if I remember correctly, listening to Cluster tell some of these stories, he went down and had a really in-depth meeting and conversation with Bobby Bowden. And he went to other coaches and he went to other. So he wasn't able to do it that way because they just didn't have the ability to bring as many coaches as they do, because they just added that addendum to that. The coaches, that how many they can have is what is it's unlimited now, right? Is it, or is it a certain amount?
Darn near,
dang near, right? So he wasn't able to do that, so he had to go and sit and do something outside of the box at that particular time, and get a little bit of culture and recruiting ideals and just do it a little bit different. Rules has the ability to do it by way of bringing guys in the way that he's doing it. And so now we're going to see what that all entails. We're not there yet, but we're going to get an idea. I'm assuming pretty, and you should be able to notice it on film. If you're seeing any adjustments, changes, or things like that, you'll probably start to notice it on film. When you're watching the game, you'll notice something uniquely different about what they're doing. And so we'll see.
10 days till the next data point we get. Nebraska at USC. Afternoon kick, 3:00 again for the Huskers and the Trojans from the Coliseum in LA. He's Strick. I'm Austin. Short break. We'll wrap up hour 1 of On the Block in just a sec. Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Midwest Bank is hosting our annual Thanksgiving food drive, partnering with local Lincoln schools to provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. We hope to provide meals for more than 120 families in our community this year. You can help by dropping off a donation at either Midwest Bank location, 7001 Pioneers Boulevard or 2655 Jamie Lane. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I could call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
The Link Grill, Draft, and Crafts is your spot in Southeast Lincoln for great food and drink. They're serving new menu items and a killer craft cocktail menu with your favorite draft beers. You'll love their pizza and new entree options. It's a great place to watch any live events, and they have music bingo every month. They have an aggressive loyalty program that rewards fans with 7% back on all purchases. home of the Nebraska Power Hour every night from 8 to 9 p.m. Order online at thelnkgrill.com or stop in at 84th and Highway 2 today.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call John Henry's at 402-435-5555 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-435-5555.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers throughout the day with patchy fog possible. Otherwise, probably sunny and a high around 54. Tonight, probably cloudy skies with a low around 36. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly cloudy skies and light winds with the high around 55. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Short segment here, wrapping up hour one of On the Block. Plenty to get to, though, in hour number two, including reaction to the college football playoff. Get a 12-team bracket for the first time. How do we think it shook out? What does it say? And then some NBA fact or fiction. But before we get there, Stricky, Jason Kelce in the news. He's at college game day between Ohio State and Penn State. Penn State fan gets in his face, calls his brother a bad word. Jason Kelce grabs the dude's phone, slams it down. Did he handle it right? Did he handle it wrong?
Those are always tough situations.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back to what I spoke to you about why I did not go to the Colorado game. Sometimes you're going to find yourself in those situations if you're a high-profile guy. This is nothing new. I mean, it's just probably now that it's readily available on your Instagram or your, live or whatever the case may be. And sometimes what happens is there are individuals that are chasing clout, 15 minutes of fame, money, opportunity to, get up under your skin. And in those situations, you have two options as somebody who is very recognizable out there. Everybody knows you because you played in Philly. You're there at Penn State, which is just in the middle of the country. So it's very possible that someone's going to try to possibly, and you get saucy, you get liquid courage, and you want one of those three things to happen. And so you really have to be stoic. You really have to just be able to smile and walk through and walk away, because doing that is not going to do anything. I wouldn't even address it at this point. I would leave it to my publicist. I would let it's kind of like pouring that lighter fluid on a fire. If you continually allow the cycle, just it happened, it did. I probably didn't handle that the correct way, and boom, move on.
And that's pretty much what Jason Kelce said. He was on the podcast and said, me reacting gave him the time of day, also gave the situation notoriety. I know now that I shouldn't have done it, because now there's a video out there with me saying the word, him saying the word. It's not good for anybody. So he admits as much, like he probably didn't handle it the best. Railroader Matt says the harassment toward him might have been going on beforehand, right? It probably wasn't just this one incident that caused him to snap. But Stricky, you're a former athlete, right? You're in the public eye to some degree. What's the difference between, walking through a crowd with everyone yelling it at you, if you're the visitor, you're on the road? The difference between that and one guy specifically needling you with a camera in your face?
For me, I look at from the, I think football players get it, but they don't really hear it as much. They may hear it going out of the tunnel.
But that's more general. It's a lot of people.
Exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys like me, sometimes you can catch it individually. Sometimes you can catch it being at the free throw line. You really have to have, and I learned this lesson as a young kid. As a young kid, I ended up missing the state tournament. We ended up losing to Lincoln East by 1 point. And I averaged like 15 that year. And just my backup just didn't have a great game. And we lost. But it was because someone was doing what you said, individual, woofing. Man, you go enough, you leave me alone. Man, just let it be. I'm telling you, man, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to drop you. And then it escalates, and then he gets dropped, and then you get suspended, even though they don't see it.
Yeah.
And those situations that cost me like that helped me to handle them a little bit better than probably I could have in the past. There's also people that you know not to approach in that manner. Like, you probably know after what you've witnessed not to approach Meta World Peace in that manner.
Right.
Because you might
mess around, find out.
You might know that in some form or fashion, and he's gotten way better. So I give him credit for this. But you egg him you egg him on enough in an airplane that Mike Tyson drops you. And it does, but you're usually not going to be the winner in that situation, especially Mike it could have been a different situation had somebody else not been filming it. You understand?
Yeah.
So because he got you on film, he can drop that science any way he wants to, which happened to me also. Somebody dropped science onto me and it wasn't nothing to what they said it was. But there's certain people that you can test like that. You think they're soft and you think it's sweet. But ultimately, especially in this day and age, it might be best suited for you just to take it in, go to one of those what are those places? Sauter Heyman text line, help your boy out. Go to one of those spots where you throw the glass in the room and it's padded and you break.
The plates, the dishes.
Do that. Hammer something. Do that later. After frustration builds, because it festers, it builds. You've heard it enough. You're tired. Keep on, and then ultimately, sometimes you blow. And I think that's just what happened.
Do we have one of those places in Lincoln or Omaha?
I have no clue. Sauter Heyman text line.
If we have one,
I have no clue.
Let's get it sponsored. Let's do a show from there.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Hit us up. 402-464-5685. Stricky and I can break things on camera for a couple hours. It'd be fun.
That's a fact.
We'd invite you to come with us. Stick with us through break. When we get back, we'll go through the college football playoff bracket. Initial 12-team reveal was out last night. Probably the most important thing going on, of course. And then we'll get into some NBA fact or fiction. All ahead in hour 2 of On the Block. Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Before you start blowing and raking leaves this season, make sure you know where they go. Yard waste is not garbage, especially in Lincoln, where it's converted into earth fuel compost. All grass clippings and leaves must be separated from household trash from April 1st until November 30th each year. It's the law. Yard waste belongs in a paper lawn bag, or you may request a bin from your trash hauler who will pick it up for a small fee. Remember, no trash or branches are allowed in yard waste. Get the details at lincoln.ne.gov/recycle.
Ridge lineup. The Ridge XR, the Ridge HVAC, and the Ridge Limited. All built to take on your day with a full factory cab, including heat and AC. Stop by Indian Motorcycle of Lincoln today and rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of November. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln at 27th and I-80.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hour 2 of the show comes your way from 1040 O Street, corner of 11th and O. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being part of the show. Had a lot of you on the text line here. Cubsker, John, and Cortland, Railroader, Matt, Tommy, Corey, all the rest of you as well. And, of course, our friends on stream, both brought to you by Starter Heyman Jewelers, Josh Nielsen, we got Dion, and, of course, our guy Sways out there on the Twitter stream. Sways, once again, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for stopping in. Was it a couple weeks ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about time flies. Yeah, it's good to see you, Sways. You are always welcome, as are the rest of you.
And bring the cookies next time, Sways. God dang it.
And he brought them.
Yeah,
Then leave him.
Leave me a
Leave
cookie
him.
or something, a
Come on,
snickerdoodle,
man.
something. No, but anyway, check this out. Those who are listening right now, we also just wanted to state again that Fred Hoiberg is going to be joining us on the block at 2 p.m. to start the show off on mañana.
Mañana.
That's going to be good. We're looking forward to it.
2 o'clock. Fred Hoiberg. Tomorrow. Should be fun. 7 o'clock last night, or 6 o'clock Central. Got my times mixed up here. We got the first college football playoff bracket, Stricky.
Yeah.
12-team edition. Let me just say, if the college football playoff was just Oregon, BYU, and Georgia, Miami, I would watch the tar out of that college football playoff as it was. But very similar to what we saw out of the AP poll. Just one or two really minor differences. Bit bummed to see Army down there at number 25 all the way out. But Strick, just looking at the 12-team bracket, you and I were in lockstep. Oregon was going to be the number 1 overall seed. We were correct on that. Georgia is the 2 seed in the bracket, but was team number 5 in the rankings, is how that worked. Or team number 3, I should say. They were team number 3. Ohio State was the 2nd overall seed. I didn't know if the committee would have the stones to do it, but Stricky, they did. And you have Ohio State right now in the 5-12 game against Boise State, Miami at 3, and BYU at 4. Are you okay with how the first 4 shook out?
The first 4, Oregon, you say?
Oregon, Georgia, Miami, BYU.
Oregon, Georgia, Miami, BYU.
You good with that? The 4 conference champs?
I think so. I think that's fine for me. Those do work. That's not what's laid out as far as the SP rankings, but that's what's laid out as far as the polls, right? And I mean the voters as far as the committee. But I think that lays out fine. Run it to me one more time. Oregon
at 1, Georgia at 2, Miami at 3, BYU at 4.
Shocking. Because Ohio State's not in there.
Well, it has to be that way because they're not the conference champion. Remember, because
that's right. They have to add.
You have to have the 4 conference champs.
champions.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There it is.
So Ohio State is the number 2 overall team according to the committee, but they get dropped down to the 5 seed.
Yeah. Okay.
And BYU's number 9, but they get a 4 seed
because it's Big 12. What a move for them. What are they looking like?
Here's my thing, Stricky.
What are they looking like? Do they finish it off?
I don't know. Right now, you'd have to say they do. But it's the Big 12. There's been craziness. There's been chaos pretty much every week. I've been on the Miami train, right? I told him Miami's going to be good before the year, that they're good and they're fun. But, Strick, I do think there's a legit argument to have BYU ahead of Miami.
Oh, I need to hear that because I will say that this next game is a big trap game, and Utah has a way of doing this from time to time as far as BYU is concerned.
For sure. It's a big rivalry game.
But go ahead.
Strength of schedule. BYU 63, Miami 65. BYU's 2 best wins are against now committee number 13 SMU and tied for second, third place in the conference, Kansas State, who's been a top 20 team all year. Miami's best win, 1 touchdown on the road at number 22 Louisville. Indiana, no top 25 wins. Just a couple different data points. Miami definitely passes the glitz and glam test better, right? Cam Ward, I would have him second in the Heisman rankings right now behind Ashton Genty. It's Miami, right? It's ACC. They've taken care of business like they were supposed to as one of the preseason favorites coming into the year. I still think people are writing BYU off because they're a bit of a surprise team. Yeah. I think if you blind compare the resumes and the metrics, there's at least a case to be made for BYU at number 3 instead of number 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a valid case. My thing is going to be this. 1, can Indiana finish it off?
Woo.
Undefeated. 2, can they win the Big Ten championship game?
No.
You don't think they can beat Oregon?
So. I don't think so.
What would you say if I'm looking for a Cinderella team this year? I'm going to say Indiana's it.
Okay.
There's something about the swag, the moxie, the preparation, the togetherness, the unison in which they play. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're saying this is Oregon's year then.
I'm saying Oregon is a deserving 1 seed. I'm not saying they win it all, but I think Oregon's got at least enough juice to get through the Big Ten.
I think they lose, but they're still in it. I mean, not in the top 4, but obviously they're still going to be in it, but they probably would be in that 5-6 range because obviously you can't be there if not. What's going to tell it for me is Indiana beats Ohio State.
November 23rd.
If
at the
Indiana, I still think they're going to beat Michigan. If they can beat on the road,
mm-hmm.
I think they can get Oregon. I think they can get Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
That all goes to shambles if they don't beat Ohio. But I think if they go on the road and they can beat Ohio State, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is something special, and they're able to beat them in the championship.
Okay,
now, do you remember when that happened to
out.
us? Remember when it happened to us when we were just so dominant, and then we went down to Texas? I think it was some shaky stuff in there.
Ask Jay about it. 96 still eats at him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's play this hypothetical out, Stricky. Indiana runs the table. They beat Michigan on Saturday. They have their bye week. They go on the road. They beat Ohio State. They beat Purdue to end the regular season. And then, for the purpose of argument, like you said, Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Is that enough to get Indiana the number 1 overall? Because they would be in conversation
that would be
with
crazy.
Georgia's track record with Miami's hype.
But they would have done something that Miami didn't do, which you just made a case for.
Miami still got a chance.
They're still
going to
be in there, but it's not going to be as sexy as that. If they could pull that off, that's sexy. I think they could pull. I think they can jump up there because you would have beaten the top 2. You would have beaten the top 2 team, the number 1 team, and you're still undefeated. You have to leap. You have to. And I know they're not going to hate it.
Would the committee do it?
I doubt they would, but I think they should. You like that, don't you?
I think Indiana would deserve
it.
They would deserve it.
But I think they should. I'm going to say that. They're my sleeper right now. And you know me. Stricky loves the underdog.
Stricky does love him an underdog.
I love a good underdog and a good underdog story.
Mm-hmm.
I would, listen, if you were a script writer, Rudy? Hoosiers? The stories start to come to life. People start watching the movies.
You know Rudy went to Notre Dame, right?
I know, but the stories, the stories of like that. I know he went to Notre Dame, but I'm just saying those type of stories. Then, like, I would be promoting those stories if I would be promoting them with them involved.
Yeah. Right now, we do have a bracket with both the Golden Domers and the Hoosiers in it. How about that?
Wow.
How about this, Stricky? Boise State ranked number 9. Boise State ranked number 12. Boise passes BYU. Boise's the 4.
How would they do it? Oh, because they're in the Big 12 now.
Because the highest ranked group of 5 champ gets in. And
they're not in the Big 12 yet.
No. So, Boise's going to the Pac-12.
Pac-12, that's right. That's right. They're going over there.
So
San Diego State, that whole crew, yeah.
If Boise State is ranked higher than the Big 12 champ, Boise gets the bye.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
That's how that could work.
That's wild.
Again, would the committee have the stones to do it? If it comes down to Boise or BYU, who are you giving the other bye?
I don't think they're there yet. Here's why I don't think they pull that trigger. Because we went through the BCS and they got burned. They got burned because they didn't put I think it might have been Boise. It was Boise. They didn't put them in. And then you backdoor it, didn't go with you at UCF.
Mm-hmm.
You took the brunt of all of that. And then you come back and then you throw Cincinnati in there and they get mollywopped.
They do.
I don't know if they pulled the trigger just because of the remembrance of all that. And look, you're in. It's different now because you can't get left out in essence. You're not going to get left out like you was before. So I think they don't spark any controversy with it by doing it in the early parts of this. Now they're going to watch. If Boise State goes in and wins 2 games and do some magic, they might do something the next year if we have some magic that happens. I just don't know if they're ready to do it this year. This is another reason why they may not pull the trigger on the Indiana situation. It's very similar to that. They may not really fully believe. And
they got the magic that fans want, but they're not willing to believe it.
Yeah, that part.
I still think that the Group of 5 champ or the 5th rated conference champ should host a game. I still think that's the way to go. But the bracket scenario right now from The Athletic has number 12 Boise and Ashton Genty traveling to Ohio State. In Strick, when I look at a bracket like this, I think the 5 seeds got the best path. I mean, obviously being the 1 is helpful.
I want to hear from you on it, but I got a question.
Okay.
You know what that's about though. Why I hear you, and I think that's right, and I think that's fair. You know why they don't do it though?
Porque, senor.
The Johnny Manziel.
Sure.
The moolah. They don't do it for that.
I know.
Unfortunately. That's the time. That's the times we find ourselves in. They're not going to do it because of the moolah.
Right.
And, in all essence, remember that the NCAA is the paper tiger. They're the chihuahua. SEC Big Ten runs things right now. They're not going to do that.
Right. Even if they should.
Even if they should, they're not going to do it, unfortunately.
For Ohio State's sake, and again, not that I like to root for my own predictions, but I do like to be right sometimes. I said Ohio State was a national championship contender. Right now, they would have to play 4 games to win the national championship. Oregon would only have to play 3.
So you're talking about the 5
5-12 matchup right now. Okay.
You say that's the best path.
Right. If it's Ohio State, I think it's the best path.
Okay, talk to me.
You telling me Ohio State's scared of Boise?
Not at all. Especially with their run defense, they're not ashamed of that.
You telling me Ohio State is scared of BYU?
Not at all.
And then they would probably get a rematch with Oregon on a neutral site this time. I think Ohio State's pretty thrilled with being the number 2 overall seed and getting the 5 seed right now.
Damn.
Damn,
that does. That's kind of wild because I remember that happened to us where it's a little bit different in basketball. I remember in Boston where we had the second best record in the East, but we were the 3rd seed, which we were cool with. We went to the conference finals. So we were able to go through Detroit, Philly, because they happened to be the 2 seed.
Right.
Which put us at the 3, but we were able to go through them, which we were all right with. We were cool with how that played out for us, even though we had a better record than them. And that's because, they have the central, the central
Atlantic,
and Atlantic
Southeast. Yeah.
As divisions. Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting. Other games, Stricky. Scale of 1 to 5, how many popcorn buckets would you give a Tennessee-Indiana matchup in Knoxville?
I'm down with that. All the way down.
5 out of 5 popcorn buckets?
I'm down with that. Let's go.
Penn State, Notre Dame, how many popcorn buckets?
4.5.
Oh, see, that's a 2.5 to 3 for me.
See, I'm trying to be nice because
Stricky, be honest.
Notre Dame has really let me down. Notre Dame is like that builds you up to achy breaky heart you type of program. Like, yeah. And they've done the same thing. They've been able to get there and they took the easy roads and then get mollywopped at the end of the day. So I was trying to be nice because the matchup would be intriguing, but would it be, pay-per-view?
It's a helmet matchup, but on the field, I think that's a 23-20 game. Which, okay, you probably want a defense forward game in there, but I'm not excited by the prospect of a Penn State Notre Dame game in the college football playoff, right? 2 perpetual underachievers in the postseason, right? Penn State, if they even get there, right, in terms of the playoff, which they haven't. Notre Dame's gotten there before, and to be fair, in terms of the preseason rankings, Notre Dame is actually generally in line with where people pick them. It's kind of rare that they drastically underachieve. But those are two programs you don't trust. The only reason I'm watching that one is to see who steps on the rake and gets hit in the face harder.
Is Franklin on the hot seat?
Strick, I don't know. The playoff changes the conversation.
Doesn't it, though? It's wild how, right?
But that's a big game for James Franklin. James Franklin welcomes a game like that because he trusts his talent, his defense over Notre Dame's. So he can go back to everyone that's John at him and say, hey, look at that. I took you to the playoff and I won a game there. I deserve more time.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys, Gorilla Bear, Unnamed Texter. Yeah, I see you guys. And yeah, I'm feeling you. But I hear you. I'm with you. What would be a top tier popcorn for you in different matchups? Tell me what that would look like for you.
I would rather see Texas Penn State.
Okay.
I would rather see like Texas Indiana or Ohio State Tennessee than I would. I mean, again, I know it's based on season. We'll get it later. If we're looking ahead to say the quarterfinals, the Elite Eight, such as it is, Oregon, Tennessee, okay, that's fine. I'll probably watch that one. Tennessee's, I don't know, Stricky. I wanted more fireworks.
They kind of like Penn State for me too right now.
Mm-hmm.
And look, this goes back some years, even when Fulmer was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where they would look good
till they don't.
And then till they don't.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like they just could not beat Alabama, or they couldn't beat, I mean, they'd lose to Ole Miss, or it would just always be some quirky,
Florida,
funky stuff.
Yeah,
it would just always would happen.
Georgia, I think, rolls either Penn State or Notre Dame. As much as I don't trust Georgia right now, the way they're playing, Dogs at least have a little bit of a track record. So that would be one of the more boring ones. The game that I would be most interested in is that 3 and either 6 or 11 game. Texas, Alabama, we've seen it recently. Doesn't necessarily move the needle for me as a conference rematch. Sure, it's probably pretty good football. I'll watch it. Miami, Texas, I'm in on. Miami, Alabama, I'm in on. Miami, Tennessee, give it to me. Miami and Notre Dame, obviously. Shoot, give me Miami, Indiana. That's the dream matchup for me. Give me all
I'm
the
down
points
for
in
that
one.
I'm down for the 5-star on that one. Plus, you got Big Ten Plus, you got CNN, ESPN Plus, you got all
Discovery
that.
Plus.
I'm down for the plus on that one.
Plus.
I'm down for the plus.
I like it. What are your thoughts? 402-464-5685. What do you think of the bracket? We'll go to break. We want your thoughts on the bracket. If we don't have them, we'll do some NBA fact or fiction. What's real? What's not? Strick and Austin, we'll talk about it next. Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers throughout the day with patch and fog possible. Otherwise, partly sunny and a high around 54. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low around 36. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly cloudy skies and light winds with the high around 55. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Hurry, this deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
As a proud member of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, Coalition Restoration stands out by providing thorough property assessments, personalized customer service, and top-notch craftsmanship. With years of experience in the industry, Coalition Restoration has built a notable reputation for having a team filled with skilled professionals and possessing the expertise to handle any roofing project, big or small. Visit their website today for a free roof assessment at www.coalitionrestoration.com or give them a call at 402-607-8186.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Let's chat some hoops. Again, Fred Hoiberg joining the show tomorrow at 2. Leading off the show, be here right on time for the head coach of the Huskers 1-0 on the year. Next game on Saturday. He's Strick. I'm Austin. We're going to talk some NBA here at Stricky. Fact or fiction? We're 7-8 games in for most of the league. That's a couple weeks worth of action. So I think it's a good time to kind of step back and see what we think is real and maybe what is not real. So how about this, Stricky? Fact or fiction? Tyrese Maxey can sustain his 30 points per game average all season.
Fiction. Right now, I mean, he has to. He has to do the doggone thing. 1, no PG. 2, no Embiid. So he has to do what he has to do at this point. But I believe that changes, and I don't even think he wants to be up there like that. I don't think he wants to have to perform at that level every night. That, you know, that goes back to, remember when Kobe had to do it every how draining that can be on you, especially as a young player. Like, it's okay. I think he's shown he has the capability, but I'm telling you, no one wants that kind of smoke every freaking night. I don't think he's built for the every night affair.
Right now, Tyrese Maxey averages 30.2 points per game through 6 games, third in the NBA. He's behind only Giannis Antetokounmpo, averaging 31, and Strick's boy, Anthony Davis, averaging 32.6. And see, to me, Strick, I think Tyrese Maxey is young enough, and I think he's got enough of a chip on his shoulder based on where he was drafted, how he was used early on. Obviously, you need more than motivation. You need discipline. But to me, it's more about the opportunity. I like what I see from Tyrese Maxey. I don't think he's doing anything that's so unsustainable, right? He's a good free throw shooter. He gets downhill, and maybe he's shooting too many threes, but he's also better than a 30% three-point shooter for his career, right? He's not getting maybe as easy of looks. So to me, for Tyrese Maxey, it's fiction just because I think, like you said, it's about the opportunity. Embiid comes back, George comes back, but I do think Maxey can still settle in that 25 to 26 range.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm with that.
Okay.
That's fair. Cool. Golden State Warriors off to a 6-1 start. Buddy Hield, who is the honorary splash brother, is hitting 50% of his 9.4 three-point attempts a game.
Woo!
Is it sustainable?
50%? No. Can he get 40?
Both? Give me both. Are they legit contenders? And can Buddy Hield maintain a 44% clip? There you go. That breaks it down.
Golden State is not a top 2 team in the West. That's fiction. They're going to be fighting in that 4 to 6 range, I think. I think they bought themselves some time, right, at the start that they got off to. I'm buying Buddy Love's a 44% three-point shooter, though, Stricky. He has been, over his entire career, one of the highest
Not Buddy Love.
Yeah, Buddy Love. It's his nickname.
There's a movie out there.
His nickname.
That's why they call him Buddy Love.
Yeah.
I love it.
Buddy Hield's done this. This isn't new for him, right? He's been under the radar just because of the teams he's played on, right? Sacramento, really busted out in Indiana. And then even Philadelphia, he didn't play. That was just because of defense. But
I think it's all about location.
It is. He's playing in a system that caters to him with a guy that provides, more space for him and Steph Curry. But also he provides the space for Steph Curry. He's going to get those opportunities to shoot. The Warriors need him to shoot, filling some of that Klay Thompson void. So, yeah, I'm buying the volume and I'm buying the percentage from Buddy Hield. This is just kind of who he is.
Love.
Similar story, but slightly different, Stricky. Fact or fiction, Anthony Edwards leads the NBA in made threes.
Fiction, because I think they're going to rein that in. You don't go to the top of the to be a top echelon type of player by doing what you did to ignite a fire of fan favor for you by all of the athleticism that you showed, and then you become a 3-point, and then your team is trash. If you continue that, then, good luck being, the guy when now John Morant's starting to, kind of find his niche again with some of the stuff he used to do with the athleticism. You fall away from that and you fall in love with threes, you're not going to be him because you're not Steph Curry. Right. You're not that guy who can shoot it and turn, which makes it, you're not a guy that's going to shoot that thing and I'm confidently going to say, you put me to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So no, I'm not rolling.
Anthony Edwards not averaging the most 3-point attempts per game in the NBA, but Stricky, he's averaging 4.5 more attempts from 3 per game. He averaged about 6 2/3 last year. He's up to 11.5 per game this year. He's made 36 threes. Jason Tatum and I forget who else is at 33 made threes. I would say it's also fiction that he ends up leading the league. I don't think that happens, right? He has to get downhill more. He's built like a freaking linebacker.
That part.
You can't settle. But I do think it is a concerted effort on his part and on Chris Finch's part. Just think about all the 3-point shooting they lost with Karl Anthony Towns. For all the knocks, his spacing was important. But Anthony Edwards isn't the only young player taking more threes. Tyrese Maxey up about 4 more threes per game again. We talked about him, probably opportunity related. Jason Tatum taking 3 more threes. RJ Barrett taking 3 more. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not a 3-point shooter. He's the mid-range master, the maestro with the footwork. Even he's launching more than 6 threes per game this year. I think it's a little bit of a trend. I think some of these guys that have the ball in their hands a lot for their teams are being pushed to take more threes.
Bruh. I'm going to answer this, and then I'm going to throw one more question at you. I saw a video And it was very, very disturbing for me because the NBA has lost roughly around 1 million viewers. The game isn't sexy and fun and entertaining. It's just a bunch of guys shooting threes. Because let me tell you what I saw. Multiple occasions, I saw shots going up from a team, and literally the whole offensive team just created like a igloo around the rim, and there was no one else from the offensive side there to go get it. Now Detroit was able to beat the Lakers by doing it, but everybody's just shooting and just going back. It to me, it's no effort. It's a lack of effort. We don't have those Dennis Rodman types no more. You know, those guys that just attack relentlessly the rim,
but still sprint back on defense
and still get right. Okay, it's some form of a laziness out there now. Let's just shoot threes, right? Okay, playoffs or bust. There's 4 teams.
Okay.
Tell me which 2 are more likely to be on the outside looking in from just because of their start. Minnesota, Houston, New York, or the Sacramento Kings.
I think that. Okay, so the Knicks at 3-3 are in. I feel fine that they'll be there
in the East.
In the East,
okay.
Yeah. There's kind of a logjam there after the Cavs and the Celtics, but I still feel good enough about the Knicks, right? I think that Thibodeau's a really good regular season coach. Will get the most out of his guys at the very least, and at least get them to the playoffs, right? I think they're not a play-in team. They're not a host in the first round team. I think they're in that 5-8 range. Well, I guess 5-6 is what it would be now. But the other 3 you gave me were the Rockets, the Timberwolves, and the Kings, Stricky.
Yeah.
Man, they're all 4-3.
Let me narrow it down for you. Who are you most concerned about? Why?
I think it's playoffs or bust for Minnesota. They have to be right with the move that they made. I think Houston showed enough interesting signs last year, but isn't on the Indiana trajectory this year that for them, play-in is fine. Sacramento's been so up and down, right? Because that's a team that made the playoffs really comfortably, got ousted in the first round in a tough series as the 2 seed by the Lakers as the 7 not long ago, and then fell out of the playoffs by like a game or 2 last year. I'm a Mike Brown guy. I think he's a really darn good coach. I don't think he should be on the hot seat if they miss the playoffs, but I could understand maybe how someone could make that argument. Oh, you didn't make the playoffs. You still got a pretty good roster. They should be there. So
I would say I'm most worried about, but I'm not going to tell you until you tell me.
I would say I am it's most likely that Houston falls back to the edge of the race and misses the playoff, but I'm not worried about it because I like their core. I think it's closer to a 3 or 4 alarm fire for Sacramento if they miss it.
My man. Okay, we good. We on the same page. That's where I was going. I feel the same way. I think I watched them play, and there's a lot of just uncertainty. De'Aaron Fox doesn't look the same.
Right.
Something going on there. Malik Monk looks very
got paid
average, right? And Sabonis looks like a lost puppy, like they don't know how to use him, because I think the one area of his game that he didn't I think work on was the stretch part.
Right.
And so he's not athletic enough that guys can kind of figure out if they're, just enough physicality, create enough space. He doesn't elevate enough to be able to continuously do that. He needed to become Julius Randle type without needing to handle, meaning he needed to be a stretcher.
Okay.
I think to be effective, even if it's 16 to 18 feet.
Yeah. Hit the elbow.
Yeah. That's where I think he's lost.
I'm fascinated that you said Randle, because I think a part of what makes Sacramento so good is that both Fox and Sabonis could handle the ball, right? And you can send one to the bench and you still have a primary playmaker and a hub to operate off of. As you were saying that, Stricky, I was thinking He's almost like 80% of Jokic without the stretch.
I don't think he's crafty enough to be.
Right, that's what I'm saying, 80%.
Okay.
80%,
Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
Jokic has the top-level creativity. He has a better handle than Sabonis does. And obviously Denver and Sacramento don't run the same style.
Yeah.
Jokic is not an elite three-point shooter. He'll have games where he can go off, but he shoots it just well enough from three to open it up.
Mm-hmm.
Sabonis isn't as elite with the vision or the passing as Jokic is, and he doesn't have the jump shot on top of it, which I think is holding the Kings back, to your point.
My man. There it is.
We got time for one more. You want to go to break?
You can drop it one more time. Like it's hot.
Let's stay in the West here, Stricky. Right now, there is one defense in the NBA that is holding opponents under 1 point per possession. Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Can they, fact or fiction, they continue to hold opponents under 1 point per possession all year?
Listen, it's such a grind. I'll say this. I'll say up to the All-Star break.
All-Star break, okay.
I'll say up to the All-Star break.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be. It's such a grind, bro. Like I looked at their schedules, bro. It's so crazy. I would have loved the schedules that these guys have now. Play off.
Maybe back-to-back a week.
They don't even really have to do that now. It's back-to-back. Like I'm telling you, 5 and 7, and we had it multiple times in a season. 5 and 7 days plus travel.
Mm-hmm.
These cats got it easy, and they're getting paid more.
Mm-hmm.
And they get, what do they call off days? What do they call those off days they get? Those
the load management days.
I
just got to play in 65 to be eligible for awards.
It's crazy. I don't know. I'm still and then you wonder, and then I question why people even have the audacity or the mitigated gall to open their mouths about John Stockton or somebody like that. Especially Gilbert Arenas. Shut the front door, my boy. Like that cat, just look at his resume for how long he played.
At that level, too.
At that level. And gave Gilbert Arenas work.
Ooh!
He was talking about
tell him, Stricky.
Stockton. Go look at the numbers. Go look at the numbers when John Stockton was dang near 40 and what he did to Gilbert Arenas. You know, he's all talk, bro. Just
young
go
cats,
look at
Stricky. Young cats.
Young cats, bro.
What they're about. Hey, speaking of young cats, Husker, good luck tonight to your Mavs, Stricky, but go Bulls.
Cubs, you rolling, huh? You rolling. It's their time. It's their year, huh?
Tricky Nicky's a Bulls fan too, Stricky.
It's the Bulls' time. They're ready. They're ready to emerge in the East.
Make sure you're on stream by the time we get back to cross it over. Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
Before you start blowing and raking leaves this season, make sure you know where they go. Yard waste is not garbage, especially in Lincoln, where it's converted into earth fuel compost. All grass clippings and leaves must be separated from household trash from April 1st until November 30th each year. It's the law. Yard waste belongs in a paper lawn bag, or you may request a bin from your trash hauler who will pick it up for a small fee. Remember, no trash or branches are allowed in yard waste. Get the details at lincoln.ne.gov/recycle.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers throughout the day with patchy fog possible. Otherwise, probably sunny and a high around 54. Tonight, probably cloudy skies with a low around 36. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly cloudy skies and light winds with the high around 55. Meteorologist Kyle Husker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
When your home fills up with family, Aloe Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Aloe Fiber experts install it all, and full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Aloe at 866-481-2556. Visit aloefiber.com.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one, or just going out to have a good time, on the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line, here, beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back on the block. Strick and Austin with you for just a few minutes here. Jay Foreman handling some business. He'll be in shortly with DP for Old School 4-6. Want to thank Nebco, our good friends there. Check them out at nebcoinc.com. you want to start your new career today, there's no better place to do it than with Nebco. Nebco's operations, they span the state of Nebraska. They supply the construction industry with the materials needed to construct our buildings, streets, and highways. They've been doing it since 1908. They're a fourth-generation family-owned and operated business with over 1,200 employees and 26 companies throughout Nebraska. Visit nebcoinc.com to learn more. Strick, you got this little press release earlier today. Dylan Raiola named one of 14 semifinalists for the 2024 Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year Award, presented by the Maxwell Football Club, awarded to the outstanding freshman player in college football. I think it'd be cool for Dylan Raiola to win an award like this. But Strick, this is one too that, as much as it might be, cool on the outside, given what we've seen from Dylan Raiola, if he does end up winning this award, I think it would be on the backs of showing a lot of improvement over the last 3 games. Right now, I don't think Dylan Raiola is the best freshman in college football. I think there's 3 or 4 other guys that might be able to take that honor. Probably not quarterbacks, right? But this isn't MVP, where you give quarterback maybe a bit of a nudge in front. If Dylan Raiola is going to win this award, Strick, I think it's best for the program, and I think it's best for him that he does it by showcasing a lot of improvement in November, putting up good stats to match the mental and physical progress that he's made. I just don't know if I see that on the horizon.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm there, and we don't know the full extent yet of what the injury is. Have we got an injury report update yet?
It sounds like Dylan Raiola will be expected to play against USC.
Okay, so we just don't know. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know which Dylan Raiola we're going to get. I think scouting reports have caught up with him. He's going to have to expand his, the way that he operates. I still think change something up, go tempo. It seems like they had great success with tempo. Go tempo, spread it out a little bit more. In certain situations, give him the 4 or 5 out, where hopefully, maybe he's not there yet, where he can identify a matchup situation, look to that matchup, get the ball out a little bit quicker. Identify blitzes a little bit better with it spread out, because it seems like he's not really picking up the blitzes and the hots as easy with compacted formations. Even that compacted bunch formation that they're running, spread that thing out, move it out so you can identify, okay, they're matching up. This is going to be a man. Okay, boom, potential blitz. You can see it a little bit better, but you bunch those guys out. Corner could come. You don't know who's coming, and it looks like he's getting caught. So, yeah, I think there's definitely some better players out there. There's one in Alabama. 2, there's one in Ohio State. There's a few others still out there.
Wingo with Texas has been pretty good.
Yeah, those 2 are definitely ones to already keep your mind on.
Let's pause 10 quick seconds for station identification here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
And it is, sensible right now with the highlights and the headlines that Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith have gotten, that they're probably people's front runners. Again, Ryan Mingo's been pretty darn good in a decent-sized role for Texas. But, Stricky, while we're on the quarterback position, we didn't talk about it. It's going to be something we bring up next week as well. USC going to the bench. They're bringing in Jaden Maiava to start at quarterback instead of Miller Moss. Interesting move. I think people before the year might have predicted that USC would have gone with Maiava, right? But Lincoln Riley really liked Miller Moss after that bowl game performance. Took him 9 games. USC just 1 and 4 in their last 5 games. They're under 500 at 4-5 on the year. And Miller Moss, 3 interceptions on the road at Washington. Curious to see how that affects that team when Nebraska goes out there in 2 weeks.
Yeah, because now you've got to prepare. Would you say that they're very similar style of quarterback? What is
without having watched enough? I think the Lincoln Riley has a type, right? I think Jalen Hurts was kind of the outlier type for Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. So I would say that, Lincoln Riley tends to prefer pocket passers, guys that process quickly and have good arms.
So being that so you don't really have to prepare differently. So that's the thing that normally can throw hiccups in, the way that you prepare. And if you have a similar style, obviously it's going to be key. Probably don't have to overly spy, but you want to, you just want to be integral in your lanes, in your rush lanes. You want to keep a pocket guy in the pocket. So hopefully that'll be the way that they go about doing that. And I would throw a bunch of wrinkles at them. Don't look traditional. Don't look
routine.
Yeah.
Vanilla.
Yeah. Throw some things at them. Throw some wrinkles at them. Don't throw things at them that would be an easy audible type of situation that a basic quarterback can pick up in those type of moments. Yeah, I would just throw a bunch of wrinkles at them, because ultimately for me, if I'm Coach White, I'm saying, I hate that I have to do this, but gosh darn it, this is the only way we win right now. It's 14 games or 14 points per game. We gotta keep them from scoring 14 points.
Yeah, that's tough way to make a living.
And if I'm the offense, I think it's too late right now. I mean, they missed. Well, no, it's not too late. He got a bye week, right? Are we in a bye
Nebraska?
week?
Yep, bye week. USC on the 16th.
So they've got a chance to possibly throw some things in there on the offensive side of. I would have a good set of 10 plays added that they haven't seen. If it takes Holgerson to get in there and throw some of his old magic in the mix, his Oklahoma State magic, his West Virginia magic, if it takes for him to, hey, these are my 10 best. We're gonna I want 10 plays because I need some form of separation. I'm gonna believe with everything that I have in me that defense is gonna do what they're gonna do. It's up to me, and if it takes me 10 plays to get it done, I've got 10 plays ready, and they're gonna be big ones. I've got 5 plays ready that's going to be inside the red zone. Different things that not that vanilla stuff. I've got 5 of those, and I've got 10, and I've got at least 3 for some big plays. Because I'm going to need big. If I'm sitting down with Holgerson on a bye week, that's the type of stuff hey, give me your best.
Who are you sitting down with tomorrow during On the Block, Stricky?
I'll be sitting down with Fred Hoiberg's going to be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. We're going to have a good conversation. Just talk about how things went when he first got here. We'll talk about now that he's here, what the expectations are for them internally, being what we were able to accomplish on last year, and the loss of ring mass and how it's affected him. And we'll talk about some of that type of stuff.
2:00 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Late enough.
Yeah.
On the Block. Make sure you're in your seats, you got your popcorn, you're settled in, ready for that conversation. And yes, tell your boss we gave you permission to eat popcorn while you're listening to the Fred Hoiberg conversation. Called an interview, but I think it's going to be a conversation. Tends to flow pretty well with Coach Hoiberg. Look forward to that, but appreciate the rest of you and all of you for chiming in here on the show today on our Starter Human Jewelers text line and video stream. Thanks to Nebco. Thanks to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Thanks to you. Don't go anywhere. We got Old School DP&J brought to you by the Mercado coming up next. When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model,